Life is full of lessons, and the way we live, think, and respond to the world around us shapes who we are. It's important to remember that our education and personal development are key to our freedom and peace of mind. It's said that only the educated are truly free. Education isn't just about knowing facts or following rules, it's about understanding the world and ourselves better, and being able to think for ourselves. It's not just what happens to you that matters, but how you respond to those events. Your reaction defines you. Life will throw challenges at you, but it's how you handle them that shows your strength. We all have two ears and one mouth for a reason. We should listen more than we speak. Listening helps us understand the world and others better. It's easy to be quick with our words, but patience and understanding through listening can teach us far more. Wealth, contrary to what many think, isn't about having a lot of material things. True wealth comes from being content with less and having fewer desires. Our minds often trouble us more than actual problems do. The way we view and react to things can make a huge difference in our lives. We are not disturbed by things themselves, but by the way we choose to look at them. The first step to becoming a better person is deciding who you want to be and then taking action toward that goal. It's about being the person you aspire to be and not waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. When it comes to happiness, the key is simple. Stop worrying about things that are beyond your control. We waste so much energy stressing over things we can't change. The secret to peace and joy is realizing what's in your hands and letting go of what isn't. Accepting this allows you to live more freely. At times, we are afraid to look foolish or be thought of as less than others. But if we want to grow and improve, we must be willing to look silly, make mistakes, and learn from them. No one is perfect, and being afraid of failure only holds us back. We all have the ability to be masters of ourselves. Freedom doesn't come from external circumstances, but from mastering our inner world. If we control our thoughts and reactions, we can find peace no matter what happens around us. A wise person doesn't focus on what they don't have, but instead is thankful for what they do have. It's easy to get caught up in wanting more, but real wisdom lies in gratitude for the present. Often, we're not upset by the real problems we face, but by the worries and imagined fears we create in our minds. If you want to be truly happy, stop worrying about things you cannot control. Focus on what you can change and let go of everything else. The people we surround ourselves with have a huge influence on us. It's important to spend time with people who inspire and support us. When we surround ourselves with those who bring out the best in us, we grow. On the other hand, negative or toxic people can drag us down, and we may end up adopting their unproductive attitudes without realizing it. Freedom in life comes when we stop worrying about things beyond our control and focus on what we can do. A ship relies on more than just one anchor to stay safe, and so should our lives. We shouldn't put all our hopes and dreams in just one place. Life is about balance, and we need to be prepared for different challenges. Focus on who you are and develop yourself according to your values rather than what others think of you. If you want to read, then read. If you want to write, then write. The actions we take in life are what shape our future. Success doesn't just happen randomly, it arrives because we've worked for it and made the right choices. True wealth is contentment. Being rich isn't about having a lot of money or material things, it's about being content with what you have. The wise person finds peace in this understanding. Life is more than just gathering wealth, it's about appreciating the things that truly matter. We're not disturbed by what happens to us, but by how we think about it. Some people blame others for their misfortunes, but this shows a lack of self-awareness. Others blame themselves, but this too is not productive. The wise understand that blaming anyone, including oneself, is foolish. It's about understanding that circumstances don't define who we are. Instead, they reveal who we really are inside. Life is not just about avoiding problems, but about learning from them and growing stronger. If we want to live a good life, we must start by understanding who we are. Once we know ourselves, we can live more authentically. A person who lives according to their values and understands their purpose will be far more fulfilled than someone who constantly seeks approval from others. Happiness doesn't come from external things, it comes from within. It's easy to feel that we are not in control of our lives. But true freedom comes when we accept that some things are beyond our power. Instead of wishing things were different, we must learn to accept them as they are and adjust our thoughts accordingly. It is not the events themselves that determine our happiness, but the way we react to them. The wise person doesn't act for the sake of appearances, but for the sake of doing what is right. They focus on their actions and inner values, rather than worrying about how others will perceive them. It's better to live a life of purpose and integrity, even if it means facing hardship, than to live a life filled with comfort, but lacking meaning. When we focus on blaming others or ourselves, we miss the chance to learn and grow. The wise person sees all blame as pointless. Instead, they focus on what they can control, their own actions and attitudes. A noble life, even if short, is more meaningful than a long life filled with regret and shallow pursuits. In the end, true freedom, happiness, and wisdom come from within. It's about mastering your thoughts, controlling your reactions, and living a life true to your values. No matter what challenges you face, how you respond will determine the quality of your life. Life will always have ups and downs, but your ability to rise above them with grace and understanding is what will set you free. No great achievement happens all of a sudden. People aren't afraid of things themselves, but rather how they see and think about them. If someone speaks ill of you, don't try to defend yourself against their words. Instead, respond by saying, "You must not know my other flaws, or else you would have mentioned those too." Whenever something bad happens, take a moment to reflect on what you can do with the situation. What power do you have to turn it into something useful? You can chain my body, but even Zeus can't take away my free will. The challenges we face reveal who we truly are. No remarkable thing is ever created quickly. It's the same with a bunch of grapes or an olive tree. If you say you want an olive, I would tell you it takes time. First, it needs to blossom, then bear fruit, and finally, it will ripen. Think about death, exile, and other hardships every day, especially death. When you do this, you will never find yourself wanting or wishing for anything unnecessary. It will make you live in the moment, focusing on what's truly important. If someone asks how to hurt your enemy, the best answer is to live the best life you can. By doing this, you show that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else or anything that happens to you. What truly matters isn't the way things are, but how people perceive them. It's all about perspective. Don't live by your own set of rules, but instead align yourself with nature's way. The core of philosophy is to live in a way that your happiness doesn't rely too much on outside influences. Imagine someone with an immortal character, someone whose example you choose to follow both in private and in public. Strive to embody that person's qualities. Anyone who wants to learn from philosophers must practice listening deeply. It's not something that comes easily, but with time, you can get better at it. If you want to conquer anger, don't give in to it. Start by noticing how often you get angry. Maybe you used to get angry every day, then it turned to every other day, and soon it became less frequent. Celebrate every time you resist anger by offering thanks for the progress you've made. If you want to grow, be okay with looking foolish or uninformed about certain things. Don't worry about how others see you. Even if others think you're important, be skeptical of that judgment. It's hard to stay true to yourself while trying to gain external things, and you'll end up neglecting one if you focus too much on the other. Anyone who has the power to anger you controls you. The only way they can disturb your peace is if you allow them to. Take control of your emotions and reactions, and you'll regain your freedom. If someone tells you that another person is speaking badly of you, don't defend yourself by trying to explain your actions. Instead, respond with, "They must not know my other faults, or else they would have mentioned those too." Only the educated are truly free, because knowledge gives you the ability to control your thoughts and reactions. It's not what happens to you that matters, it's how you react to it that makes all the difference. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We should listen twice as much as we speak. Listening helps us understand the world and people around us better than simply talking. Wealth doesn't come from having many possessions. It comes from having fewer things, focusing on what truly matters. Men are disturbed not by the things themselves, but by how they view and interpret those things. Before you take any action, first ask yourself what kind of person you want to be. Then, do what is necessary to align your actions with your values. That's the first step toward living a meaningful life. Happiness comes from not worrying about things that are beyond your control. There's only one true way to happiness. Stop stressing over things that you cannot change. If you want to improve, be willing to look foolish sometimes, especially when it comes to things outside of your control. Don't try to seem wise in the eyes of others. Wisdom often comes from being humble enough to admit that we don't have all the answers,